My name is Goran Visnjic, and I play the character called Marco Constante. Marco Constante is an Italian inspector who's specialized in kidnapping cases and abductions. And that's the reason why Dorn, played by Donald Sutherland, invites him here in first episode of season 3, basically to help, because his colleague and a friend was abducted regarding the case in a Hague courtroom about the war crimes. So he invites Marco Constante to come by and basically help the team to find his missing friend. But at that time, the team pretty much doesn't exist because it was dismantled on the end of the second season. So basically, he comes amongst this group of people, and not knowingly, Dorn is actually compiling these really good investigators from all over Europe, and in his mind, he's probably trying to recreate the team, but nobody knows that in the beginning. So that's when Marco Constante comes in. He comes in with a lot of things he carries around with himself, one of them being his sister being abducted when he was 12 years old, and he feels responsible for it because it happens basically when two of them were out and about, and she was only 4 years younger than him, and he never can kind of forget that because he still believes she's alive and somewhere, and he just can't find her. And that's the reason basically why he chose to become a police officer in the first place, an inspector, and basically works on abduction cases. It's pretty much, in short, who Marco is without telling you too much. He really comes in just to help Dorn, because he heard of Dorn, he heard of what they do, and he really appreciates and he really knows how important it is. And he's flattered that this old gentleman who's been doing this for all of his life is actually asking him to come and help. So he comes in and full force tries to help them, and they resolve the case, but he doesn't think that he's going to stay there longer or that he's going to be here for any long time. He literally comes with a little backpack, for a couple of days trip. And then when he comes here, he realizes the resources of this place are humongous. I mean, he has pretty much connection to the whole world and to any police base, police computer, to any town on the planet. And he kind of thinks this would probably be the best place to be in order to help him to find his sister. So that's one of the reasons he decides to hang around. The show's name, Crossing Lines, basically means crossing borders, because we're thinking and talking about this European Union that doesn't have any borders any longer, but that means good things and bad things can cross those borders. And German police cannot do anything in Spain, Spanish police can't do anything in Italy, Croatian police can't do anything in Austria. It's very much, but the criminals are allowed to cross the borders without being checked upon. And the idea is basically to create something that FBI does in the United States. So they're able to go from California to Nevada, basically any state in United States of America, and that's why Federal Bureau of Investigation. So Crossing Lines unit is something like that. They're the unit who actually has a legal and police power to do whatever they're supposed to be doing in any country of European Union. So that's the idea behind the show. Well, we came to Prague like 4 months ago. It seems like it was yesterday. It went really by fast. The city is just stunning. It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. The architecture is just amazing. The Vltava, the bridges. It's just a beautiful city. And that means locations galore. I mean, we really do find interesting locations, and always they seem to be able to find something different. And it worked really nice. The other thing, you're located centrally in Europe. When we've been filming in Croatia for like 20 days, it was easy to get there. We filmed like Splinter Unit in Berlin. It was easy to get to Berlin. You're really in the middle of Europe, and it was a pleasant shoot. Prague and people working the crew. It was just nice. It was really fun. It just flew by. I mean, we did work hard and a lot, but we also had a little bit of time to check the city and go around a little bit. The show is set up as many characters are representing this team, and every episode we're going to be paired with somebody else. So one episode, Marco and Karin's going to have like a big storyline that they're going to be together working on a case. Next episode, it's going to be Naomi, who's playing Ellie. One episode, it's going to be Sebastian and Marco. So they're constantly shifting us, although there are kind of like teams. They like to pair Luke and Arabella together, and which works really nice. Two of them are really cute together, and they work like a charm. It's really a pleasure to watch them. And then Elizabeth and I had a lot of stuff together. I had a really awesome episode with Naomi. When we went kind of back to school, it was a really funny episode because we were doing investigations in college, and she literally just left the college. And I'm kind of like this old guy who is like, what am I doing here? It was kind of, they put us in the funny situations, and I mean, not maybe as funny for characters, but it was kind of like unusual for these people to be in them. And the cast is really cool, relaxed, fun to work with. And unfortunately, they worked like really a lot, so we didn't have much time, to spend a lot of time together. But every day off, we're going to go out and stuff like that. But the atmosphere on set is like if you can walk in the middle of the rehearsal or sometimes even maybe too relaxed, because when everybody's here, and especially if Donald is here, then it's like, what'd you do yesterday with it? It's like, it's really, it's relaxed, and then the director needs to kind of, okay, guys, let's get serious. I mean, we need to work. Okay. And now we're here in Croatia, which I know personally. I mean, locations here are, just stunning, really stunning. And this is not even like my part of country. I'm further down south, about 300 kilometers, which is like very much, in certain respect, similar to Istria, but then in certain respect, completely different. And I think everybody was really, really happy that we actually came here. I mean, from good restaurants to good locations to, but we're just, we're working. We're not here on vacation. We're working hard. But when you see the material, we're getting a lot, and I've seen some old friends, people I worked 20 years ago with, 10 years ago with, and they've been working on this project with us. So it was fun talking Croatian with the crew. It's cool. Elizabeth Mitchell is playing Corinne Strand, and Elizabeth and I know each other from the days on ER. So it was a really pleasant surprise when they actually told me Elizabeth's going to be on the show also. I was like, my God, that's Donald, who I already knew. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. And Elizabeth, so it was really, really, really nice to hear that she's going to be on the show. We had a great time. They're kind of like hitting heads, you can say, in the show, and it makes a really interesting dynamic. And with her, it's just a pleasure to work with her. She's one of these people that makes your day bright when she shows up at work. She's always kind of like, sparky, in a good mood, very energetic, in a good way. So it's like, makes the day goes by really quickly. Corinne and Marco, they have like a similar kind of like standing in a team. She's the leader of the team, definitely. But by somehow experience in the years of doing the job, they're very kind of like on the same ground. So that's what brings kind of a little bit of, headbutting there. And with other guys, it's just interesting. Like Stuart and I just had a really, so much fun scene shot in Opatija on a roof of this 19th century hotel on this like slippery slope, kind of like stunt stuff, shooting, running. It was kind of really amazing, and we kind of spent a couple of really great days in Opatija. So we've been working together like it's per episode, you know. Most of the work with Frank was actually before we came here. They set up the character in one way, and I asked, you know, if we can do certain changes, and they were very, very comforting in that way. They did everything that we asked. Also during the shoot, the scripts coming are really good, but if there's something happens, you know, Corinne is here, one of the producers, who is like always present, that we can reach Frank anytime, Rolla anytime on the phone if they're not here. But Rolla is here every day almost. So she is like, you know, making sure everything works smoothly, everything is in order. So really beautiful thing. Every time I personally like to work with the material that I have, but it's sometimes if something really doesn't work or it doesn't make sense in a space, you know, sometimes writers are going to write something and then we come in the space and it's like, you know, we don't have that car, we have a car that's a little bit different, and then that change pushes this change, and then the whole avalanche of changes happens. You need to start changing the script on the spot, right? That moment you can't reach the writer because he's maybe on the other job already, and then you call Frank or talk to Corinne, okay, we make changes. And they've been really, really easy going with that, and everybody feels like a part of the team in that respect. So it's been really pleasant experience. In these 12 episodes, we have a lot of stories to tell. We've been dealing with kidnapping, we've been dealing with drugs, we've been dealing with sex trade, which is kind of really a huge issue. And every time that everybody has a personal issue with something, you know, in Marco's case, kidnapping or kids or anything like that, you know, everybody, when kids are affected, everybody is really kind of like really disturbed, because when you hear these stories of something like that happening, I mean, it's terrible, because you really can't comprehend. I mean, that needs to be a sick mind. But no matter how sick that mind is, you need to take him out of the society. You need to find that person. You need to do something about it. So, you know, unfortunately, there's too many stories to tell. Rolla and I have been talking about, I have some personal experience with like illegal ivory trade. That we're going to try to bring in the next season, and because that's, for example, like a trend that ivory travels with the channels that come to Europe, and then once it's in Europe now, because there's no borders, you know, you just get it, let's say, to, I don't know, Czech Republic, your doors are open for the rest of the Europe, you know. Okay, UK is a little bit protected because it's an island, but, you know, talking from all the way from Germany to France, Spain, up to Portugal, you know, you can just drive the car not being stopped once if you keep the speed limit and do nothing stupid. So that's what we're trying to show, is this vulnerability of Europe in this moment, that the crime, once it enters the borders, you know, we need this unit that's gonna, actually the unit is the beginning, but we need this service, something like FBI. It needs to be on the level of all the countries in Europe.